You make decent money. You're not stupid with it. But somehow, at the end of the month, you're still stressed about your bank account. Why does money slip through your fingers like water? I'm your friend from Mindly, the place where we break down the psychology behind behaviors that quietly control your life. And look, by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why your relationship with money is the way it is. More importantly, you'll know what's actually driving your financial decisions. Because I'm going to show you the 3 psychological traps that keep intelligent people financially stuck. And once you see them, you'll recognize them everywhere. So stick with me here because this is going to explain why you do things with money that make zero logical sense. And honestly, it might save you thousands of dollars. What's really happening with your money? Alright, let's get straight to it. Your financial behavior has almost nothing to do with math and almost everything to do with emotion. You can know exactly what you should do with money. Save more, invest early, avoid debt, spend less than you earn. Every single person knows this. But knowledge doesn't change behavior. Because money isn't actually about money. And honestly, this affects everyone. Studies show that 78% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. Not just low-income Americans. People making 6 figures. People with advanced degrees. Smart, capable people who somehow can't figure out this one area of their lives. You probably felt that stress this month. Maybe you're feeling it right now. So why does this exist? Here's the psychological explanation. Money is the most emotionally charged tool we use every single day. It represents security, status, freedom, power, self-worth, and about 50 other things your brain cares deeply about. Every financial decision you make is filtered through decades of conditioning, childhood experiences, cultural messages, and emotional associations you're not even aware of. Your rational brain knows you should save that $200, but your emotional brain remembers that your parents fought about money constantly, or that you grew up never having enough, or that your friends all have nice things, or that spending makes you feel temporarily less anxious. And your emotional brain wins. Every single time. The phrases and patterns. Check out what people say about money. I guarantee you've said at least half of these. I deserve this, usually said right before buying something you can't afford. Deserve based on what? A hard day? Everyone has hard days. That's not a financial strategy. It's on sale. I'm actually saving money. No, you're spending money. Saving money is when you don't spend it. Spending less than full price is still spending. I'll start saving next month when things calm down. Things will never calm down. Next month has its own expenses. This is the procrastination of financial security. I'm not good with money. This becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. You've made it part of your identity. And people act according to their identity. You only live once, true. And you're going to live most of it. YOLO is great until you're 65 with no retirement savings and another 20 years to live. Money doesn't buy happiness, said by people avoiding their financial problems. Money doesn't automatically create happiness, but financial stress absolutely creates misery. I can't afford to save right now, but you can afford subscriptions you don't use, daily coffee runs, and impulse purchases. It's not about affording. It's about prioritizing. I make good money. I don't need a budget. That's exactly why you need one. High earners often have high expenses. Income isn't wealth. The gap between them is. Recognize any? Now look at how this shows up in behavior. You get paid. Maybe there's even a decent amount in your account. For about 48 hours, you feel secure, relaxed. Then slowly, almost unconsciously, spending starts. A dinner out. Not expensive, totally reasonable. Then those shoes you've been wanting. Then that subscription service everyone's talking about. Then your car needs something. Then a friend's birthday. Then you realize you need to upgrade your phone. Then, 2 weeks later, you're checking your balance anxiously, doing mental math at the grocery store, feeling that familiar tightness in your chest. And you're not even sure where it all went. It's like your money evaporates. And here's what's bizarre. If someone asked you to track every dollar, you probably couldn't. It just disappears into a fog of small decisions that seemed fine at the time. The real psychological mechanisms. Now, what's happening in your brain during all this? Look, it's not stupidity. It's not even carelessness. Most of the time, it's one of 3 things. First, present bias. Your brain values immediate pleasure exponentially more than future security. That purchase gives you a dopamine hit right now. Saving gives you nothing you can feel today. Your primitive brain literally cannot comprehend future you. So it prioritizes present comfort over future stability every single time. Second, money scripts. These are unconscious beliefs about money you learned before age 7. Money is the root of all evil. Rich people are greedy. There will never be enough. Spending money means someone loves you. These scripts run in the background of every financial decision you make, and you don't even know they're there. Third, emotional regulation through spending. For many people, spending money is how they manage uncomfortable feelings. Stressed? Buy something. Sad? Buy something. Bored? Buy something. Anxious? Buy something. The purchase creates a brief neurochemical reward that temporarily masks the underlying emotion. It's self-medication through shopping. And there's an even deeper layer to this. The real psychological mechanism is what researchers call temporal discounting. Your brain literally discounts the value of future rewards. $100 today feels more valuable than $110 next month, even though mathematically, waiting is better. Applied to your whole financial life, this means you're constantly choosing smaller immediate rewards over larger future ones. That's not a math problem. That's a brain wiring problem. Meet Rachel. Let me tell you about Rachel. She's 32, makes $75,000 a year. Good job, stable income. Should be comfortable, right? She has $847 in her checking account. It's the 23rd of the month. Rent is due in 8 days. She needs $1,400. She's sitting in her car outside Target. She went in for laundry detergent. She came out with $160 of stuff. Decorative pillows, a candle, some organizing bins, a cute mug, things she didn't need, things she didn't even remember wanting until she saw them. Now she's staring at her phone, looking at her bank account, feeling that familiar wave of shame and panic. Here's what's actually happening in Rachel's brain. She grew up in a household where money was always tight, always stressful. Her parents fought about it constantly. As an adult, she unconsciously associates having money with anxiety because that's what money meant in her childhood home. So when she gets paid and her account feels full, her nervous system doesn't feel secure. It feels tense, wrong somehow, like she's waiting for the other shoe to drop. Spending the money relieves that tension. Being broke feels familiar, safe in a weird way. It's what she knows. She's not being irresponsible. She's unconsciously recreating the financial environment that feels emotionally normal to her. Her childhood money stress is literally controlling her adult money behavior. And the wildest part? She has a master's degree in business. She teaches other people about financial planning at work. She knows better. But knowledge doesn't override emotional programming. 3 months later, Rachel started therapy specifically for money psychology. She's beginning to recognize when she's spending to regulate anxiety versus spending from actual need. It's slow. It's hard. But she's finally understanding that her problem isn't math. It's unprocessed childhood stress. Are you Rachel? Or do you know a Rachel? How this shows up in real life. Now look at how this appears in real life. Work scenario, you get a raise. $500 more per month. You're excited. Finally, you can save more. But watch what happens. Within 2 months, your spending has increased by $500. New gym membership, nicer apartment, better car, eating out more because you can afford it now. You're making more but saving the same. 0. That's called lifestyle inflation, and it's why high earners often have no more financial security than they did making half as much. Relationship scenario. You're out with friends. Everyone's ordering appetizers and cocktails. You're trying to be careful with money this month, but everyone's looking at the menu. You don't want to be that person. So you order too. You laugh, you eat, you drink. The bill comes. Your share is $67. You cringe internally, but smile externally. On the drive home, you feel sick. Not from the food, from knowing you just spent money you needed for something else. but you couldn't handle the social discomfort of saying, I'm on a budget. Family scenario: your sibling just bought a new car. Your cousin posted vacation photos from Europe. Your parents keep asking when you're buying a house. And you're sitting there with credit card debt feeling like you're falling behind in life. So you finance furniture you don't need for an apartment you're trying to leave. Because having nice things feels like evidence that you're doing okay, even though financially you're drowning. The appearance of wealth becomes more important than actual wealth. Impulse scenario: you're scrolling your phone before bed. An ad pops up. A product you didn't know existed 5 seconds ago. But the ad is good. Really good. It shows you a version of yourself who has this product and is therefore happier, more organized, more successful. It's only $39. That's nothing, right? You click. You buy. 3 days later it arrives. You open it, use it once, and it joins the graveyard of impulse purchases under your sink. That's $39 you'll never see again. Multiply that by the 50 other times you've done this, and suddenly you understand where thousands of dollars went. Investment scenario: you know you should invest. Everyone says invest. You've read the articles. You understand compound interest intellectually. But actually moving money from your checking account into an investment account feels terrifying. What if you need it? What if the market crashes? What if you're doing it wrong? So you wait. You're waiting for the right time or for when you understand it better. Meanwhile, years pass. And the money you didn't invest would be worth double by now. The cost of waiting is invisible, but it's real. The damage this causes. All right, now let's talk about the damage this causes. And look, it's heavy. In your daily life, financial stress affects everything. Your sleep, your health, your relationships, your work performance. Studies show that financial anxiety is linked to higher rates of depression, anxiety disorders, and even physical illness. It's not just about the money. It's about the constant low-grade panic humming in the background of your existence. You wake up and check your bank account before you're fully conscious. You avoid opening bills. You feel a spike of anxiety every time your card gets declined. You make decisions based on your bank balance, not what's actually best for you. In your relationships, money is the number one thing couples fight about. Not sex, not parenting. Money. Because money isn't about money. It's about values, control, security, respect, and power. One person is a saver. The other is a spender. One grew up with money. The other didn't. One thinks experiences matter. The other thinks security matters. And neither is wrong. But they're speaking different emotional languages, and money is the battlefield. And there's the shame, the secrets, the hidden purchases, the separate accounts, the lies about how much something cost. Financial infidelity destroys trust just like any other kind. In your future, here's the brutal truth. The financial decisions you make in your 20s and 30s determine your quality of life in your 60s and 70s. That sounds dramatic, but it's math. Someone who invests $200 a month starting at 25 will have about $470,000 by 65. Someone who starts at 35 will have about $200,000. Same monthly investment. 10 years difference. $270,000 less. That's the cost of waiting. But most people don't invest $200 a month. They spend it on things they don't remember. And then they hit 50 and realize there's nothing there. No safety net. No retirement. Just the hope that somehow it'll work out. In your sense of self, and look, if you're struggling financially while everyone around you seems fine, you know this. The shame is crushing. You think you're the only one. You think everyone else has it figured out. You think you're uniquely bad at this. You internalize it as a character flaw. I'm just not good with money. And that becomes your identity. But here's the thing. Most of those people who seem fine, they're stressed too. They're just better at hiding it. 78%, remember? You're not alone. You're just isolated in your shame. Long-term consequences. After years of this pattern, the consequences compound. Bad credit. High interest rates. Inability to get approved for loans. Missed opportunities. Career limitations because you can't afford to take risks. Staying in bad situations because you can't afford to leave. And then there's the psychological toll. Learned helplessness. The belief that your financial situation is just how things are, that you'll never get ahead, that it's pointless to try. That's when people give up entirely. And that's when the real damage happens. Meet Kevin. Let me tell you about Kevin. Kevin is 41. He makes $95,000 a year, has for the past 6 years. He has $2,300 in savings. His 401k has maybe $30,000. He drives a $48,000 truck that he financed at 7% interest. He owns a $3,500 watch. He takes 2 vacations a year that he puts on credit cards. From the outside, Kevin looks successful. Nice truck, nice watch, always traveling. Must be doing well, right? Inside, Kevin is terrified. One day, his company announces layoffs. His department is being restructured. He gets called into a meeting. He's being let go. Severance package, 3 months. Suddenly, Kevin is staring at his financial reality. He has 3 months to find a job before everything falls apart. His truck payment is $720 a month. His mortgage is $2,100. His credit cards carry $22,000 in debt at 19% interest. He has exactly enough savings to cover maybe 1 month of expenses. Here's what Kevin realized. He'd been performing wealth instead of building it. He'd confused looking successful with being secure. He'd spent years prioritizing the image over the foundation. His emotional need to appear successful had literally bankrupted his actual security. In the end, Kevin found a new job after 5 months. He sold the truck. He moved to a smaller place. He started over financially at 41. And he realized that the success he'd been displaying had cost him the actual security he thought he was building. His whole financial strategy had been backwards, and it took nearly losing everything to see it. The recognition and protection. Right, so how do you know when you're trapped in dysfunctional money psychology? Early warning signs. Look, there are some signs that appear very early. You feel anxious when you check your bank balance. That's avoidance. If looking at reality feels threatening, something's wrong. You're not sure where your money went. If you can't track it, you're spending unconsciously. That's emotional spending, not intentional spending. You leave purchases feeling guilty or anxious. That's your nervous system telling you this wasn't aligned with your values. You hide purchases from your partner or yourself. Shame and secrecy around money always indicate deeper issues. Your spending increases with your income. If raises never improve your security, you're running on a psychological treadmill. Detailed identification guide. First, track your spending for 1 month. Not to judge yourself, just to see. You cannot change what you're not aware of. Write down every single transaction. You'll be shocked. Second, notice your emotional state when you spend. Are you stressed? Bored? Sad? Anxious? Happy? Most people have emotional spending triggers they're completely unaware of. Third, examine your money beliefs. Finish these sentences honestly. Money is. Rich people are. I'll never. I don't deserve. Your answers reveal your unconscious scripts. 5 specific protection strategies. Strategy number 1, the 48-hour rule. Here's how it works. For any non-essential purchase over $50, wait 48 hours before buying. Add it to a list. Wait. If you still want it 2 days later and you can afford it, buy it. Real example, I wanted new headphones. $200. Put them on my list. 2 days later, I'd forgotten about them completely. That's $200 I would have spent on something I didn't actually want. I just wanted the feeling of buying something new. Strategy number 2, automate your future. Stop relying on willpower. Set up automatic transfers to savings and investments the day after you get paid. You can't spend what you don't see. This removes the decision from your emotional brain and makes it mechanical. If you wait until the end of the month to see what's left, there will never be anything left. Pay your future self first. Strategy number 3, calculate in hours, not dollars. That $120 dinner? If you make $30 per hour after taxes, that's 4 hours of your life. That $45,000 car? That's 1,500 hours. Over 9 months of working full-time. When you translate purchases into time, the math changes. Is this thing worth that much of your actual life? Strategy number 4, separate accounts strategy. Have 3 accounts. One for fixed expenses, rent, bills, debt. One for variable spending, food, entertainment, discretionary. One for savings that you never touch unless it's an actual emergency. This creates psychological separation. You know exactly what you can spend without doing mental math and hoping you didn't forget something. Strategy number 5, identity-based change. Stop saying, "I'm bad with money." Start saying, "I'm someone who makes intentional financial decisions." Your brain follows your identity. Change the story you tell yourself, and your behavior will follow. When and how to set boundaries. You need boundaries with yourself and others around money. With yourself, I don't buy things on my phone after 9 p.m. That's when your willpower is lowest and your emotional spending is highest. With others, I'm not doing expensive dinners this month. Real friends won't judge you. And if they do, they're not real friends. Concrete example, your friends want to go somewhere expensive. You say, "That's outside my budget right now. I'm focused on some financial goals. Want to do something else." If they pressure you, that tells you something important about them. When to seek professional help. Look, if you're seeing spending that feels compulsive, or if you notice you're using shopping to manage mental health symptoms, or if you tried everything and still can't stop the cycle, maybe it's time to talk to a financial therapist. Yes, that's a real thing. Sometimes money problems are actually trauma problems or anxiety problems wearing a financial disguise. And you need someone who understands both. Self-care practices. Meanwhile, take care of yourself without spending money. Walk. Call a friend. Journal. Cook. Create something. Exercise. Most of the things that actually make us feel better are free. The goal isn't to never spend money. The goal is to spend it consciously, aligned with your actual values, not as a numbing mechanism for uncomfortable emotions. Because healing your relationship with money is exhausting. You're fighting decades of conditioning. You're going against cultural messages. You're rewiring neural pathways. That's not easy work. That's profound personal growth. The science behind it. All right, now for the nerdy stuff. But I promise it'll be interesting. Look at what happens in the brain when you make financial decisions. Your ventral striatum, the reward center, lights up when you buy something. It releases dopamine, the same neurochemical involved in addiction. That's why shopping can literally feel addictive, because neurochemically it is. Meanwhile, your insula, the pain center, activates when you think about spending money. Yes, your brain processes spending as actual pain. So you're constantly balancing these two systems, the pleasure of acquiring versus the pain of paying. Credit cards hack this system. They give you the pleasure without the immediate pain. That's why people spend 12 to 18% more on credit cards than cash. The pain is delayed, so your insula stays quiet. Psychological research. There are some fascinating studies about this. A 2018 study from Cornell showed that people's financial decisions are more influenced by their emotional state than by the actual numbers. You make different choices when you're stressed versus when you're calm, even if the financial situation is identical. Another study with over 5,000 participants discovered that childhood socioeconomic status predicts adult financial behavior more than current income does. Meaning, how you grew up with money matters more than how much you make now. Why humans are wired this way. The question is, why did evolution wire us so badly for modern money? The theory is that immediate resources were always more valuable than future ones in ancestral environments. If you found food, you ate it. You couldn't save it. There was no refrigeration, no financial system, no future planning needed beyond maybe a season. It makes sense when you think that our ancestors needed to prioritize immediate survival over long-term optimization. Evolutionary perspective. So it's not a moral failing. It's an evolutionary mismatch. Because something that worked when resources were scarce and immediate, eat the food now because it might not be here tomorrow, today, when we have stable resources and complex financial systems, turns into spend the money now because it feels good, even though we'll need it next month. Your brain is running software designed for a world that doesn't exist anymore. And that creates massive problems in the modern financial world. See the difference? The big insight. So this is where it all connects. You know what the truth is that nobody wants to admit? Your relationship with money is your relationship with yourself. And once you see this, you can't unsee it. Because what's really happening here isn't about budgets or spreadsheets or financial literacy. It's about how you value yourself, how you soothe yourself, how you punish yourself, how you reward yourself, how you protect yourself. Think about that for a second. All those times when you bought something you couldn't afford to feel better temporarily. All those moments when you avoided looking at your balance because the shame was too much. That weird compulsion to spend when you're stressed even though logically you know it makes things worse. It wasn't you being stupid. It wasn't you being weak. It was your unmet emotional needs expressing themselves through your wallet. And that changes everything about how you'll deal with money going forward. MYTHS and truths. All right, before we wrap up, I need to debunk some beliefs that everyone has about money. Myth 1, you need to make more money to be financially stable. Truth, actually, high earners have just as much financial stress as moderate earners. The problem isn't usually income. It's the gap between income and spending. You can make $200,000 and be broke if you spend $210,000. Myth 2, being good with money means never spending on anything fun. Truth, look, deprivation doesn't work. Extreme restriction leads to extreme rebellion. Being good with money means spending intentionally on what you actually value, not randomly on everything. Myth 3, investing is only for rich people. Truth, investing is literally how people become rich. You don't need thousands. You can start with $50. The barrier isn't money. It's knowledge and psychological comfort with uncertainty. Myth 4, debt is always bad. Truth, there's productive debt and destructive debt. A mortgage at 3% while your investments earn 8%? That's smart. A credit card at 24% for restaurants and clothes? That's financial suicide. Context matters. Myth 5, you can't change your financial situation. Truth, your financial situation is the result of hundreds of small decisions. Change the decisions, change the situation. It won't happen overnight, but it will happen. The question is whether you're willing to do it differently. Myth 6, talking about money is rude or taboo. Truth, this secrecy is exactly what keeps people trapped. When nobody talks about money honestly, everyone thinks they're the only one struggling. And nothing changes. Transparency breaks shame. Shame keeps you stuck. We covered a lot here, right? So let me recap the most important stuff. Not everything, just what you need to remember. First, your financial behavior is driven by emotion and psychology, not logic and math. Stop trying to logic your way out of an emotional problem. Address the feelings underneath the spending. Second, you learned how to relate to money before you could talk. Those unconscious scripts are running your financial life. Until you make them conscious, you can't change them. Third, small consistent actions compound into massive results. Saving $10 a day is $3,650 a year. Invested over 30 years? That's over $300,000. The power isn't in dramatic changes. It's in boring consistency. And look, what scares me isn't that people struggle with money. It's that they struggle in silence while thinking they're uniquely broken. You're not broken. Your brain is doing exactly what brains do. You just need to understand it so you can work with it instead of against it. But now you know. You know why you do what you do with money. You know what's driving the decisions that don't make sense. You know where to start making changes. And that gives you power. Not to be perfect. Not to never make mistakes. But to make conscious choices aligned with the life you actually want to build. So next time you reach for your wallet, pause. Ask yourself what you're really trying to buy. Security? Status? Comfort? Distraction? And then decide if this purchase actually gives you that or if it just feels like it will. And that awareness, that changes everything. If this changed how you see your own money behavior, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next one.